Welcome to the Marketing Revolution Podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's happening, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution Podcast. Long time no see, but I do promise that I'm going to continue to give you guys weekly episodes. Kind of just when I feel it. I guarantee you I'll have one done every week, but if I feel like doing it 5 days a week, I'll do it 5 days a week as well. But it's been a crazy time since the last time I've had this podcast. So many things have happened. The process of finishing the Marketing Savage book. So it's off to the editor right now. And essentially what happens when you write a book, you get yourself a good editor. And once you finish that book, you're going to want to go over and kind of like self-edit yourself. And at that point, you deliver the book to the editor and they'll go through and do their edits and essentially give you some notes and things that you got to change or things that you might have to, articulate a little bit better to the audience. And then you'll go through and do all them edits. Then you send that book back and it bounces back and forth. And then it actually goes into like grammar and all this kind of shit, spell checking, whatever, all of that stuff. It goes to kind of like a separate individual. And then eventually it comes back and you finalize it and the book's done. So that being said, I'm hoping to be able to drop it in October. That's the goal. But that's not what I came here to talk about today. I came here to talk about something that I've been studying quite a bit. I'm actually building quite a few different funnels for the book launch. And a lot of these funnels are just added value to the actual book, meaning that when you read a chapter, or let's say that you read it, on one of the popular methods, whether you're using a Kindle or whatever else you want to use. I basically listen to audiobooks, but apparently there's a lot of folks that will download these books on Kindle. And call to actions, meaning that, if I want to give away like a free PDF, or if I want to give access to a specific course that highlights a topic, so that way the book is a little bit more dynamic and it can be expanded. Well, while I'm doing that, obviously I'm creating additional courses inside of the framework. And anytime that you create a funnel, there's things that you got to look at. I mean, and one of the ones that I actually talk about in the book, and I want to talk about here today, is just the different ways that we're actually wired, the different ways that our brain is actually wired, and how you want to understand that, and how that, I guess if you want to call it like psychology, goes into how you build out your advertisement, how you're going to build out your funnels, how you're going to build out specifically your sales funnels, because ideally there's a lot more that goes into persuading somebody to buy something from you, obviously, than giving something away for free. So, that being said, one of the things that we look at, and I'm actually looking at my phone right now because I've got this kind of laid out. I'm actually creating notes nowadays, guys. So you all should be very proud of me. Most of the time I just go off the cuff, but I've got some notes here today. And what I want to talk about is essentially what we've always called. Now there's technical names for it and things like that, but y'all know me. I like to keep shit fucking real basic, and I like to make sure that it's easily understood. Okay. What we have here is that we've got the lizard brain, okay? So the lizard brain is basically the smallest part of your brain. What I want you guys to imagine is that in the middle of your brain, we've got like 3 layers to our brain. And the very smallest part, okay, the one that's most primal, the one that was, first developed would be the lizard brain. And that's directly in the middle, and that's responsible for our fight or flight response mechanism. The one thing people don't talk about is freeze as well, because it's like fight, flight, or freeze. And I would almost say that freeze is probably more important than the fight or flight, because if you really look down at the primal aspect, people talk about fight or flight, but if you look at the primal aspect, if we ran from our prey as, like, let's say a caveman, when our brains were first developed, if we actually physically ran from them, like a saber-toothed tiger, it's the traditional trip and bite technique. The motherfuckers would just trip us and bite us on the neck and kill us. If we physically fought them without the help of, multiple people, eventually figured that out, but without the help of like multiple tribe members, if we actually fought prey, a lot of times we would be killed by it, because at that time, we might have had more primal weapons, things like that. Later on, we developed guns and things of that nature to make us much more powerful. But that being said, the way that most situations people escape is by freezing, okay? And it's even been proven, like during some of the shootings that we've had in the United States or around the world, that people actually survive by falling to the ground and playing dead. So that being said, that's the third aspect I want you guys to remember, is that the lizard brain is going to be fight, flight, or freeze, okay? It's also the same response mechanism that causes people, regardless of whatever logic gets put right in front of their face, that they will immediately fight back because it goes against some sort of core belief that causes the lizard brain to freak out. The lizard brain is also, Seth Godin talks about this quite a bit. The lizard brain being part of our resistance. So when it comes to growing, when it comes to becoming, somebody better, we always got to fight resistance, okay? So like motivation, the motivation to do things, the motivation to chase your dreams, the motivation to go after your goals typically takes some form of risk. And the lizard brain will kick in, and because of fear, will cause us to either fight, flight, or most of the time freeze. I want to say that they call that like entrepreneurial paralysis, meaning that the chemicals just literally go through your body when you're afraid of shit. Almost think about it like you're getting ready to walk out into the street and a bus is just driving down the road right in front of you, and then you fucking freeze, right? Because you don't want to step in the road. You don't want to get hit by the bus. That is when the lizard brain serves us well. All right, so we didn't get hit by a fucking bus, right? But the lizard brain also kicks in during times when you should be expanding outside of your comfort zone, and causes us to actually freeze up and stop, creating that paralysis that's talked about a lot in the entrepreneur community and stuff like that. Like people just fucking freeze, like you don't do anything, you just stop. Because you're scared. The lizard brain's saying we're going into uncharted territory. That's what creates the resistance that basically stops us from being the greatest version of ourselves. For years, the lizard brain has saved our life. But now that we actually have our world in much more order around us, of course, than we did in the fucking caveman days, right? We don't need that response mechanism as much. Again, stop you from walking in front of a bus. You don't want it to stop you from living the life of your dreams, and you definitely don't want it to get in between risk and reward, because it takes risk to get a reward. I don't give a fuck. You talk to anybody who is successful, they're going to tell you they had to risk something. They had to put their dick on a chopping block at some point, and they had to be willing to pull the trigger. So that's it. You're going to have to risk at some point, and that lizard brain stops you from risking. Okay, so going full circle, I want to talk about, then there's the mammal brain, okay? So the next layer of your brain is actually the mammal brain, which is a little bit, it's much more, it has things like emotions, memories, habits, and attachments in it. I could just go into detail of how that can either fuck you up or help you, but let's just say that, think of it as like a mammal. So you got a lizard, and then you've progressed. We've got that part of our brain that's like a mammal, right? And then you've also got, which would be the most recent developed, which is called the neocortex, is the human brain. All right, so that's responsible for our language, for abstract thought, imagination, consciousness, reasoning, and rationalizing. Well, look, guys, every aspect of this in a really good marketing funnel has to be considered. Like, how are you speaking to every aspect of this, of the way the human mind works? And to be honest with you, this is what I love most about marketing, is that I actually get to look at things through this scope. And when I'm sitting down and I'm planning out a funnel, and I'm planning out, for everything from the moment, exactly what they see at the very top of the landing page, to the experience, the things that they see on the scroll, to how's my market positioning looking, how am I positioning myself as an authority, as a leader right off the bat. It's one of the things that you've got to consider when you're creating a really good marketing campaign. So that being said, the entire thing about creating yourself, like building yourself, like how am I positioning myself as an authority in this market? How am I positioning myself as somebody that can be trusted in this market? How am I positioning myself as the one person that can take the individual, the prospect, from where they're at to where they want to be? And that definitely is something that is reactive, is very reactive in the lizard brain, specifically because the lizard brain is very primal, and the lizard brain is always trying to save energy. It's always trying to conserve energy. And essentially, that's why we freeze. That's why we have paralysis, because we don't want to expand the energy that it takes to jump outside of our comfort zone. So the lizard brain's going to kick in and be like, no, wait a second, man. You're a hunter. You're a gatherer. Man, you got to save that energy, or else we're going to die later today, because you're not even going to have the energy to hunt. You're not going to have the energy to gather. This is not important. Let's shut down and let's just go into autopilot, or let's just go do some busy work that just doesn't take that much mental energy. A lot of you guys, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of you entrepreneurs that listen to this show, you guys know what it takes, like the mental fucking energy that it takes to sit down and plan this shit out. The mental energy that it takes to actually put your plans in concrete and then begin creating actionable steps to get towards your goals. And because of that, the lizard brain is going to completely shut down. It's going to conserve and save energy. So when somebody hits your front end funnel and you fail to position yourself as an expert, you fail to position yourself as an authority, a leader, you fail to position yourself, you are actually in conflict with the lizard brain, because immediately that's what we look at. And here's what I want you guys to imagine. Okay, so you drive by a restaurant in the middle of the day. There's two restaurants. They sit right across the street from each other. And you're driving by these two restaurants, and you look at one restaurant, and it's got like 15 cars in the parking lot. You look across the street to the other restaurant, and the other restaurant has one car in the parking lot. Immediately, your lizard brain is going to kick in, and it's going to tell you that, like, these people that are in this parking lot, because there's 15 cars in there, the food is going to be better at this location. The food is going to be better over there, because these people know something that I don't know. And that's your brain's auto response. And saves energy. It's the same reason why I talk to a lot of my service-based clients about let's literally show your clients and customers your reviews. Let's get video of clients and customers giving you testimonials. Let's do everything that we can do as positioning yourself as an authority, as a leader in the market. And it's guaranteed to work each and every time. I see a lot of failures in funnels. When I look at certain funnels and things like that, like I can tell right off the bat the ones that are going to be winners and the ones that are going to be losers. And I can tell based on exactly how they're communicating to these three layers of our brain, whether we're talking about the lizard, the mammal, or the human layer of the brain. And are they addressing everything that encompasses all three of them thought patterns? Are they addressing everything that encompasses all three of them emotions? And are they doing it properly? Are they doing it right? Like one of the things with the lizard brain, again, because it causes us to freeze, that's why scarcity and urgency work so well when it comes to just about any offer. If you combine a really, really good offer with great market positioning, and then you combine that with scarcity and urgency, you've got a cocktail for success. Because again, the lizard brain will come in, some fear will open itself up, and then it would immediately tell us that it's okay. We don't have to purchase today. We don't have to buy today. We can think about it, right? But if you can somehow push scarcity and urgency into that funnel or into that marketing campaign, causing people to take an action, and you can either go as far to tell them what they'll gain today if they'll take an action, but even more important, what would they lose if they didn't take an action right now? What would you be taking away if they didn't take an action right now? So them are some of the ways that you can actually combat that. And stuff is so interesting to me. I absolutely love it. I dig very deep in the book about it. So my book that's going to be coming out is Marketing Savage. I was going to change the name of this podcast to the Marketing Savage Podcast, but I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it and I said, you know what? Nah, let's keep it the Marketing Revolution Podcast. And the book is going to be Marketing Savage. And I guarantee you, you're going to want to read it. So it'll be good. Even the lady that I got that's doing the editing, man, she's done thousands of books, and she's got an incredible feeling about it. It's much different than any marketing book that I've ever read. And I probably read somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 and some marketing books, and it's much different. It's more about bringing out who you are and being original. There's a lot of that in there, and but it goes very deep. It goes very deep. It goes into source energy, how you pull that into your work. Just some pretty cool stuff like that. So anyhow, y'all, I just want to drop this podcast for you today. And again, I'm actually putting this in my schedule. One of the things that I've been learning is that you got to have a concrete schedule. I'm living and dying by my calendar, and because of that, I'm getting so much more done, and I'm able to schedule in this type of stuff, things that I know that I should be doing, and this is one of the big ones. So I'm going to continue the podcast. And I'm also recording as well, so you guys might be watching this on video. But other than that, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.